This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2084. Sweet Talking Your Home Appraiser Pays Off by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This podcast is actually one of multiple shows in our network covering different topics like personal development, health, and relationships. So if you like narration-style podcasts, be sure to search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this and check out our other shows. But for now, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. Sweet Talking Your Home Appraiser Pays Off by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. Let me share with you a story about the importance of the home appraiser when it comes to refinancing your mortgage or qualifying for a new mortgage. My previous mortgage refinance took 65 days, and I wanted to share what I learned. Back before the financial crisis, a refinance would take at most 40 days to complete. Nowadays, banks are asking for every single document out there, making sure the borrower is legitimate. At least I can sleep well knowing that due to the new standards of due diligence, there will be a lower chance of another housing crisis in the future. The same concept goes with airport security, come to think of it. Getting strip searched is a pain in the butt, but one should take comfort in a safer flight. After more than 10 years of appreciation in the stock market and real estate market since 2009, it's good to be more cautious. The last thing we want is another meltdown that ruins our financial independence plans. Dealing with the home appraiser twice. My lender required 2 independent home appraisers for my refinance. I don't care so much because the bank is eating the cost, which is an extra $750 for 30 minutes of appraisal work. What a joke. The first home appraiser was a man who I left alone to do his thing. He took the measurements with his laser tape, asked some basic questions on home improvements, and took some notes. A week later, I got the report in the mail and was pretty stoic. The appraisal value was right at the middle end of the range. A week went by and I started to feel a slight sense of panic because I kept hearing about people getting their refinances denied due to high loan-to-value ratios. Further, the average credit score for approved mortgages is now very high. I started to worry that after 40 days, I might very well get rejected from my 3.625% mortgage refinance rate due to some appraiser who might be in a bad mood that day. The game plan to smooth talk my home appraiser. I wasn't about to risk letting the second home appraiser sink my chances at saving tens of thousands of dollars over the duration of the loan. When Jen called to schedule an appointment, I asked her where she'd be coming from. East Bay, she said. Aha, clue number 1. Then I asked her what time is most convenient for her. She mentioned Saturday morning. No problemo, even though I had to reschedule some meetings that morning. I hung up the phone and anxiously waited for the next Saturday for her to arrive. When Jen rang the doorbell, I greeted her with a smile and asked how her drive over was. She said fine and how much nicer the weather is in San Francisco because it's over 95 degrees in the East Bay. I asked her if she wanted something to drink and shared with her some of my favorite butter cookies. After she downed a couple, I began introducing the house. I made it a point to let her do her work and not overcrowd her. In addition, I mentioned all the home improvements we've made over the years that really boosted the value of the house in our eyes. When her 30 minutes were over, I thanked her for her time and we started sharing stories about the housing market and reminiscing on the good old days. Perfect, we were bonding. I asked her all sorts of questions that made her feel like an authority. Questions such as, what are some of the things you'd recommend homeowners do in order to improve the value of their homes? Can you share with me the recent refinancing trends? And what is the biggest obstacle people face? What are your thoughts on the housing outlook? My goal was to learn something from her, but also to really make her feel special too. So many times we just speak and don't listen. I hung to her every word and maintained eye contact while nodding with enthusiasm. The home appraisal report came out great. A week later, I got the second appraisal in the mail. Success! The house appraised for $75,000 more than the first appraisal. Of course, none of these values mean squat since the value of one's asset is only what someone is willing to pay for it. That said, what this second higher appraisal means is that there was no doubt about my refinance being able to close. I took the time to accommodate Jen with her busy schedule and made her feel special by starting a conversation and providing her food. I didn't want to risk a poor second refinance to ruin my chances of saving a bunch of money, so I made sure to please the appraiser. Looking at the second appraisal in detail, there's virtually no difference between the comparable homes she used and the cost to build. The only difference comes from the subjective value of the house, where she added $10,000 here and $20,000 here and there. In conclusion, it's worth making nice with someone who holds the key to your refinance future. In fact, it's worth making nice to anyone who can help or prevent you from succeeding. The home appraiser is key to getting a mortgage to buy a property or refinancing a mortgage. Treat the home appraiser well. You just listened to the post titled, "Sweet Talking Your Home Appraiser Pays Off" by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. While I agree that you should treat your appraiser with kindness, that's more because they're a human being and not because it could influence how they value your home. In general, I'm not a fan of manipulation, but you're not powerless if you don't agree with an appraiser's assessment. Make sure you get a copy of the report and check every detail. Maybe the appraiser made a mistake and checked the box for 2 bedrooms rather than 3, for example. You can also contact your lender and make a value appeal, but you'll first want to get your ducks in order and have a strong case for why you disagree with the appraiser's assessment. Maybe they didn't use updated comps of the other properties in the neighborhood. Or if it's during a time when home prices are rapidly increasing, it's entirely possible that home values could rise after your appraisal's done. Make sure the appraiser was able to find all the permits of the improvements you've done on the home. If they couldn't easily pull the permits, it's possible they didn't include your improvements in the valuation. If the appraiser isn't familiar with your area, this is another point you can bring up with your lender. How many homes in your neighborhood have they appraised in the recent past or ever? Worst case scenario would be to pay to have another appraisal done, but make sure it's with someone your bank will accept. If the refinance is that important to you, it could be well worth it to take on the additional cost of a second or third appraisal and just roll that into the overall cost of the refinance and when calculating your break-even timeframe. That's a wrap for another Monday show. Have a great rest of your day and start to your week, and I'll be back tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.